Hi lovelies, and welcome to my life and tarot. Today I want to share a little bit of the Yule or the winter solstice and the New Year's or the old year becoming a new year customs around here. Many of them are not in use anymore, but some of them are, or they are like softened a little bit, but these were the customs not very long ago that people actively lived and used. So the winter solstice, aka Yule, Julud, was the time where the work year or the I'm not sure what the word is, year was officially ended, and the Yule time customs I already shared with you a while ago. I will leave the link down below where you can see it if you haven't seen it. But next came the Christmas time, which was also Yule time per se, because it started in 21st of December and lasted until 6th of January. This is like that until today. And the Christmas time was the time where people believed that the heaven and earth are touching, and because of that the creatures from the other world were running around on the earth, and people used everything to protect themselves for every kind of evil and not human. And there were many names for different kinds of creatures or beings. Some of them were flying beings, some of them were crawling, some of them, but most of them or all of them wanted to harm people. So protective signs or symbols were used, and they marked all windows and doorways with those symbols. And the most common or most used symbols were cross. I made some little cards for you. So cross. Now the ring cross and the pentagram that they used for protecting their homes and themselves. These how do I say it? These signs or marks were used in clothing also. All our national clothing have some kind of protective signs in them, in the patterns. I can show you like the crosses here, and this here is Norse symbol for protection and for good luck. And when they knitted the garment or the mittens or the socks, the protective spells were sang into the creations, and the red yarn has been for centuries as a protective from an evil eye, from any kind of ill wishes towards you, or to protect the person and protect their things. For example, in the fishing villages or fishing area, the people put little string of red yarn onto the fishing nets to protect those nets, because these were the most important tool to make a living or to stay alive, to protect from evil eye or the envy. The envy fear is really strong around here, because envy or envious thoughts against another being can harm them or their belongings. And belongings and tools and animals were the most important things that people in those days had. They couldn't make a living without those. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't get food or make the field. I hope you understand, I don't have any English words right now. And putting red yarn into the weaves of clothing and mittens, and there were special patterns of mittens for the fishermen or the seamen, and all the protective spells were talked or sang into the garments when they were made. So this is another point that is valid today also. Handmade items, when some people use knitting or creating something to calm their stress, they are putting their stress into the product they are creating. So buying handmade products, you have to know who has made them. This is my personal experience and view on these things, and that's why I am wearing the red yarn on my left hand, which is receiving hand, because I really don't want to receive any envy or these ill thoughts, and this will and is protecting me from these type of things. Also, I have a red yarn on my drum, and I use those mittens and everything that are created by old people that actually know these old patterns, and because I can't knit myself and you can't crochet such patterns. So red yarn, because of this. I know that the later or the new age has made the red yarn their own at one point, and people are thinking it's related to something newer, but our culture is like old. We have one of the oldest villages around, I don't know, the northern part of I'm not talking about Finland or Sweden, because they have older establishment found on their land, but we have one of the oldest establishments discovered here that is like Stone Age and before that, and they are actively investigating everything that they are finding, that the land gives back to us from like centuries and thousands of years ago. So the red yarn is older than the new age thing. I'm blabbering. Okay, so, and you may be thinking, how did they get red yarn? They colored red with mushrooms, I think. I may or may not, because this is not artificial. Every color that we have in our old national costumes are from plant material or mushrooms or something like that. Only the blue, the brighter blue, came in later. That is the indigo that is not available around here, and it was imported from wherever the ships were going. I don't know, I can't English right now. I hope you understand. So this was it. I strayed a little bit, but I wanted to share this one also. And the winter time was the time when women made clothing, because at the summer everyone was outside making the food for the cattle, food for the family. Everyone was outside from the sunrise until sundown, and every work was made outside. We have a saying here that you have to be prepared for the next. We have only two seasons here in general, like winter and summer, and of course we have autumn and spring also, but they are like really brief, and most of the time we have, well, lately it has been this autumn all year round, but something like that. So in the summer you prepare the sledge, and in the winter you fix the horse carriage. So vice versa, you have to be prepared for the next season to come, not leaving things until the last minute. So the protective signs, and these are from the time when there were no books and no calendars and no means to write down things. These were made into garments, onto stone. We had every piece of land anyone owned had cornerstones, large or smaller, but still not small stones, and every family had their own protective and sign, which also was their family sign. They marked everything they had with those signs. When they made a chair, they made their family sign carved onto that chair, for example, or whatever they created. They always left a mark behind, because this was like their signature, and also if anyone was, I don't know, lost something or was stolen, then the mark was there, which showed who the owner is. So, protective signs, and this lasted until 6th of January in our calendar. Old times there were no calendars and time was calculated with days, like Christmas, and so many days until this day, and then so many days until next, and it just went round and round, and they used boards with signs on them as calendars, and these were used every year. They didn't have 1st of August. They didn't count days in weekdays, so to speak, or weeks. And when we are talking about months, then word month in my language is the same as moon. So we have until today, every month is actually something moon. So for example, the December is Yule moon. The January is the winter moon. Then the February is the candle moon, and for example the August is harvest moon. And in the modern way we say August or Januar instead of January, but we also have those old names and use. So next, also they burnt juniper twigs, like saging. They saged for protection, and this was thought that is the best protection for saging out and keeping out all the evil beings from the house or from the cattle area, the barn. Everything was saged with juniper branches. Also, they tied ribbons around the trees or hanged them on the tree branches for good luck and for protection, and to show the ancestors their appreciation. What was also on this Yule time, the ancestral appreciation time, when for the ancestors they made offerings. We had these sacred groves or bunch of trees where the whole land was sacred. Sometimes there was a stone or the huge rock in it, and they burnt offerings or brought offerings there for ancestors, for the field and forest gods and goddesses and protectors. So this, and we had only 4 major year events like we don't have Beltane or I don't even know how they pronounce them, but we had in April the cattle day, where the fields were plowed and the cattle was left outside for the first time for the night. Then the summer solstice, then the withering day in October, and then the winter solstice. The main events are summer solstice and winter solstice. Winter solstice is not celebrated anymore like it used to, but the summer solstice is celebrated like it was many years ago, many centuries ago. We will get to that when the summer comes. I will show you everything. Okay, but also the boards for time calculating, or the calendars before the actual calendars and everything was brought here. I made some flashcards to show you how they marked the weekdays. Week started with Sunday, now it starts with Monday. Old times it started with Sunday, and this sign was for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And they marked these without naming the names. I think the names were a little bit different back then. I can't even remember how they were exactly called, but they started with signs for each day of the moon, of the month. Also, moon signs, sorry. Moon signs. Moon was the main thing that people lived with, or according to what people lived, and they really lived by the moon aspects, or the moon. I will get to that. So the moon circle was calculated as a soft time and a hard time, literally. So the soft time was for growing and creating, and the hard time was for waning, for vanishing and getting rid of, or diminishing. Like if you cut your hair at the hard time of the moon, then it doesn't grow so fast. So men cut their hair on the hard time of the moon, and women vice versa, in the soft time when it grows faster. And it works, by the way. So, and moon aspects had their own signs for the calendar, because they really looked when to plant the seeds or when to take up the crops, and they lived by the moon, and the moon signs were part of the calendar. I will, in the summer, on the island, I will make myself one of those calendars, and I will show you how it's done and what's on it and how it can be used every year, and how it's called. I'm not going to say that right now, but you have something to maybe wait for. But moon signs. So the signs, as you maybe noticed, are similar-ish to moon signs, but for the moon signs, the round shapes in signs mean the soft time of the moon, and the sharp shapes on the sign mean the hard time of the moon. So let's start. This is the new moon. Now this is 2 days after the new moon. As you can see, it is sharp, and 2 days after the new moon, the soft time becomes hard time. This is the first quarter of the moon and beginning of the soft time. This is 2 days before full moon and start of the hard time. This is full moon. This is 2 days after the full moon, starts the soft time. This is the last quarter and start of the hard time. And this is 2 days before the new moon, start of the soft time. So this, and yeah, this moonology around here is really interesting and worth investigating and living by for. And I've been living by this type of moon calendar for a while now, and now looking back, like when you do it mindfully or with awareness, then you notice how these things actually work and that they really work. So this was the New Year customs around here. There are minor things that people did, but until the 6th January, from the Yule until the 6th January, we to this day have this time. On the 6th January, the Christmas tree has to go out from the room or the house. Until then, it has to be inside. And so we are now at the time when the heaven and earth are touching, and every kind of things are happening. I have noticed this year in particular that something is around, because there is no full moon. It's like growing moon right now, or the young moon, but something is in the air and people are like trigger happy somewhat and are trying to create commotion or passive aggressiveness is a little bit thing right now, and I haven't so awarely noticed these types of things, so I can't say is it because of the heaven and earth touching or is it something else right now, but this I have noticed. People are like a little bit fishing for trouble, fishing for the reason to pick on something or something like that. So these were the things. I will be back with the local customs on the 14th of February when there's next important day, and I will talk about that then. So thank you for watching, and